welcome. Thanks for joining me here. We'll wait for just a bit to allow others a chance to chime on as you're logging on. If you're watching live, always curious to know where folks are joining from. And so if you want to chime in and let us know that, or if you're watching a recording of this, would still love to know where you're watching from. I am in the U.S. in the Madison, Wisconsin area. And also, if you haven't already, I encourage you to head over to my website, faithfullygrowing.com. There you can sign up for a newsletter to get resources into your inbox on a regular basis, as well as new meditations and insights that I offer. We'll wait just a few more seconds and then we'll get started here. Just grateful for this community and to be able to be with you each week. So just thanks for your courage in joining me here. And welcome. For those of you who may not know me, I'm an IFS trained practitioner specializing in healing. Whether you've experienced religious trauma or you're just seeking guidance on your spiritual journey, I'm here to serve as an ally and to support you. You can find out more about me again by visiting my website, faithfullygrowing.com. As we go throughout our time today, know that you can type questions in the chat if you have them, or if you're watching a recording of this, you can also type a question and I will do my best to engage with you also. And anyone can always send Tim at faithfullygrowing.com. Additionally, go ahead and subscribe here to the channel if you haven't already and would like to. And you can find other guided meditations and insights that I do here. And you can also find those on my blog. If you go at blog.faithfullygrowing.com, you can access them there too, and also via podcast. If you haven't already, I invite you to join my Facebook group, and you can do that by going to faithfullygrowingwithtimfortescue.com. And that's just a place where we can build community, continue conversations there also. And then finally, if you have the capacity, I have a nonprofit aspect of my practice that allows me to accept tax-deductible donations, and 100% of that goes to provide high-quality IFS coaching to those who may not normally have access to it. And you can donate by visiting faithfullygrowing.com/donate. And if you know of folks who need some support, have them reach out, book a there. I'd be glad to meet for a complimentary consultation and see if it may make sense to walk alongside of each other for a while or a bit. I believe that's all of my commercials, so thanks for sticking around for that. If IFS is new to you, you can find out more by visiting my website, again, faithfullygrowing.com, and clicking How I Work, and you can find out a little more there. Or if you Google IFS, Internal Family Systems, you can find lots of resources and information out there. But this is a model that's been so transformative for me, and I hope it can be helpful to you too. Before I lead us in our meditation today, I want to talk just a little about parts in IFS. I had a listener send me an email with some very constructive feedback, and I love that. If you have suggestions or even suggestions for content for future episodes, let me know that, and I'd be glad to get curious and see if I can put out some content that may be helpful. But I had a listener reach out, and just very in a nice way, she said, in your meditations, you seem kind of directive or controlling, as if you have an agenda. And I do have parts that come up that can have an agenda. at times. And when I have those times, and I want to encourage you, if you have those times of being encountered with maybe a difference of opinion or some feedback, if you could just pause and just notice what goes on. And if I'm honest, if those little parts of me come up that are wounded, and if I can pause for a bit, I can remember, first of all, this is good feedback that I'm getting at. And I do have, parts that have an agenda sometime, and I want to be aware of those. And also, I have parts that say when I'm leading a meditation that it is when you're leading a whole group or someone who will watch a video as opposed to in a one-on-one session, sometimes you tend to need to be a little more directive or think of the whole community that may be listening to what you're talking about or that meditation. So as you're going throughout my meditations, feel free, make these your own, and know that ultimately what's best for you. If we just trust the process in your system, what needs to happen will happen. But grateful for feedback. Send me more if you have it, and I definitely ponder on that and take it into consideration. Let me talk just a bit about parts in IFS. First of all, when we talk about parts in internal family systems, these can be thoughts, actions, impulses, beliefs, among many other things. But often what's coming up in your mind is a part. And another thing that this person that gave me some feedback reminded me that we want to liberate our parts from those extreme roles that they're in. And like when they're really just coming with some anxiety, or those firefighters come in to say, oh, criticizing, I can't believe you did that. They're doing the best they can, but they're not doing it in the best way. And we want to help them know that they're not alone in that. But our parts also bring gifts that we can integrate. And so it's a good reminder too that we are focusing on those extreme roles and to liberate our parts from that. And I'll lead us in the meditation now in just a bit, but also remember that there are three primary parts. There are protectors, and those are categorized into two. The managers that are doing your to-do list, saying we've got to get it right, and these are often all younger parts, even though sometimes they can not be. And then you have firefighters that come in and say, oh, you need to do this better, or why don't you do it that way? Those critics can be firefighters. And so some of those protectors are more proactive and managerial. Some are reactive, like a firefighter would be. But underneath them all, we have our exiles, those young inner child parts that are wounded. Often they just want to be held. And these protectors are working very hard. But they're young too, and they shouldn't be carrying the burdens that they do. And they don't have to. So be aware of the different aspects of our parts and try to help them just feel some of that belovedness of that self, us, when we're calm and when we're curious. So let's go into our meditation. I'm just going to lead you in a basic meditation to check in with your parts. And let's see if we can get curious for a bit. But as we begin the meditation, go ahead and just kind of pause and settle into where you are. You can close your eyes if you'd like to, but if that's weird or uncomfortable, know that you can just let your eyes stay open and rest your gaze softly in front of you. Just take a couple deep cleansing breaths at your own pace. And just continue turning to your internal world. What do you notice? Maybe there is a trailhead, a conversation that has happened, or something you've got coming up, and you have those thoughts, feelings, beliefs, impulses, those parts that are coming up around that specific instance. Just bring that conversation, that trailhead, kind of what is triggering those reactions and those parts and those feelings. Just bring that trailhead to mind. See what you notice for just a bit. Maybe you have some parts that are resistant to this process. That it makes sense. They may be a little resistant. Let them know they're seen. Maybe you have parts that just want to run away. You have parts that are saying, oh, this mindfulness is different. It's not something I've done before. Just realize that those are parts of you. See if you can welcome them in. Just take a few more seconds to see what you're noticing. Just as you continue checking in with your internal family, your internal system, see if there's one of those parts that may be the most present right now. Maybe you notice it as a sensation, like a tightness in the chest. Or maybe it's in a feeling of just a heaviness. Maybe it's an image or a color. But as these parts, this internal family of you gathers around, see if there's one part that may want to be heard more than the others. Maybe invite this part to step forward just a little bit, or invite it that if it would like to come a little closer, it can, but it doesn't have to. No pressure, no agenda here. Just want to get to know it a little more. As that part steps forward, notice how the other parts respond. See if there are any fears or concerns that they would like to voice. And let them know that you see them, that you hear them. Just see if they'd be willing to soften back and witness us getting to know this part that has stepped forward that you're noticing the most right now, let them know they can have a chance to have some time in the future too. But for now, could they just be with you as you get curious about this part you're noticing now and see if they can do that, see how they respond? Thank them for their courage. Now turn back to the part that seems to be most present right now. And again, you just kind of sense where you notice it. I often get a tightness in my chest, or I have clients who can kind of feel sensations in the head. Some may feel a deep emotion. Some may visualize the part standing there in front, but just see how you know this part is most present. Just sense into that. And as you get a sense, just ask the question, how do I feel toward this part? Is there some calmness, some curiosity? Is there some resistance? And if there's resistance, it may be one of those other parts trying to back in. Maybe they need to come a little closer. But then just see if they could pause and give us some space and witness. And if you can extend just a drop of calmness, curiosity, compassion, a sense of wanting to connect with this part that is most present, see if you can extend some of that curiosity, that calmness to this part of you. How's it receiving that? Then just pause and ask it this question and let your whole system know we're about to wrap up. We're not going to go a whole lot deeper here. But with this part that you're noticing the most, just say, I'm here. See what it may want to share with you, and what you may want to share with it. Just spend some time in dialogue with this part of you. I often tell clients I don't see silence as silence. I know there's often a conversation going on. And so I want to give you the space for that. So take a little more time to see what this part that you're noticing the most wants to share with you, what you want to share with it, see if there's anything else. Just thank that part for its courage and coming forward for as much or as little that it shared. See if it's like spending time with you. I find often a lot of my parts, it's been a long time since they felt seen. and heard by me. And let them know that if they've liked this and if it feels right for you, that you'd like to spend more time with them, and let them know that maybe you can do it later today or in the next couple of days. Then extend your awareness out to those parts that also had courage in coming forward and witnessed this, and see if there's anything that they need. And thank them for their courage. Let them know that they can have an experience like this too. Maybe set a time to check in with your inner family, your inner system, in the next day or so. Then when it feels complete for now, you can bring your awareness back to the present moment and open your eyes if they were closed. And if you're feeling a little more spacious, see if you could take this with you into the world today, and know that you're beloved, you're valued, and you matter. And I'll leave it at that. If you have questions, I'll hang around for just a bit more and you can chime in. Would be glad to engage. If you're watching a recording of this, you can also type in your questions. I'll see if I can engage with them. And you can always send me an email to tim@faithfullygrowing.com. If you have the capacity to head over to my website and click the donate button, I have a nonprofit aspect of my practice that allows me to provide high quality IFS coaching to those that may not normally have access to it. And if you know some folks who may need some support, reach out. You can book a free consultation through my website. Be glad to meet you there. But thank you for your courage and for joining me. I hope this has been helpful. Take care of yourself. Stay curious if you can, and welcome all of the parts that you encounter on your journey in yourself and in others. And join me next time. Try to do this each Tuesday at the same time, which is 10 a.m. Eastern here in the U.S. So thanks for joining. Take care and have a great week.